back, folks. Take Two Podcast. I'm Brian, and I am joined by the Georgina Castle, all the way from London, England. You are our first recording outside the country, so awesome. Thank you for that.
Am I? No pressure then.
No.
Gonna be interesting.
She's a fantastic actress of both stage and screen, and then she also does a lot of workshops, working one-on-one with actors, singers, and what have you. We're going to break all that down for you guys later. I hope you guys enjoy our video, and also don't forget to jump over to our podcast, subscribe, and download that today, and you'll be able to hear her on there as well. Okay, let's start things off. Your workshops that you do, all of these one-on-one with actors, or are they just classes? How did they come about?
Yes, so they actually came about at the beginning of lockdown, because obviously, I was in Mamma Mia at the time when, you know, everything just shut down and stopped. And I thought, okay, A, how am I going to make a little bit of money? And also, B, how am I going to keep these muscles working and keep, you know, practicing my own acting and my own singing? And I thought, workshops, one-on-one sessions, private lessons, they'll be a great way to like connect with people and also get something back, share my passion a little bit. So I've been doing mainly private lessons, one-on-one sessions, mostly over Zoom. Mm-hmm. So it's been a whole new sort of thing, but actually really rewarding, and I've really enjoyed doing it.
So with them, especially being with Zoom, I can't imagine, you know, any workshop or anything I've attended has always been very hands-on, you know, very literally in your face with some things. Yeah. So how is that different?
Well, also my whole experience at drama school was very hands-on. It was very physical, you know, all out, and the body, and like a human relationship. I mean, that's what, you know, theatre and acting is, isn't it? It's reacting to the other person. So it has been unusual. I just had to use a lot of visual aids, like getting the person to move the camera around different parts of their body so I can check whether they're breathing right, or hold the camera a bit further away if we're working on some like louder diaphragm stuff or some projection stuff. But we've worked out a few ways around it.
How am I doing? How's my breathing right now? Am I okay?
Yeah, you're okay.
Good?
I'm like, loosen, maybe just shake the shoulders out a little.
All right. Okay, we're good.
Goosey. Yeah.
Right. Nervous. My first Zoom, my first international interview here. So maybe there's some nerves. All right, we're good now. Okay, ready to roll. Okay, now I do want to talk about your specific.
My first international, actually.
Yeah.
It's my first international as well. So I'm like, we're both virgins to this. It's great.
Very cool. Okay. All right, now let me get into some of your acting things, and then we'll kind of catch ourselves back up. You booked the lead in Dolly Parton's 9 to 5 musical?
I did. I mean, that was a big one for me. I was absolutely chuffed to bits with that. I remember getting the call after the audition process. So I'd been auditioning for Dora Lee Rhodes, which is the part that Parton famous in 9 to 5, the movie. And I'd done a few rounds, and I thought it had gone okay. I wasn't expecting anything. Like, you can never get your job up. You just got to go in, do your job. And I got a call saying, you know, you're our first choice, but we just need to wait for approval. And I was like, oh gosh, okay. You know, just wondering, you know, who does it need to go by next? And they said, well, Dolly currently has your tape. And I was like, oh God, so Dolly Parton currently somewhere in the world is watching a video of me, like trying to do probably a bad impression of her. But she liked it enough to let me sort of give it a whirl. And I had the time of my life doing that show.
That's insane. Now, being from England, I mean, is Dolly Parton as big over there as she is here? I mean, was that huge for you?
I guess maybe she isn't as huge over here as she is over there, but I believe that she is. Like, she's still under, like, at the beginning of the show, there's sort of a projection of Dolly up at the top, and everyone just goes wild when they have. She sort of chats to the audience a little bit. So, I mean, she's straight away recognizable, and people hold her sort of very close to their hearts over here as well, which is lovely.
Very nice. Now, which was more nerve-wracking, just the audition, or then just meeting with her? I think that would be the part where I'm like, hang on, the Dolly Parton, you know, the celeb that's in charge of this is now actually talking to me. That'd be crazy.
She's chatting. Well, actually, we never had a full-on conversation where we were like engaging with each other, but she sent me a lovely video, basically just to say good luck, and that she felt like it was in safe hands, and thought oh God, my heart was racing even doing that. But she had a very active involved in the start of the show. I mean, obviously it's her show, but she was very present, very engaged with all of the decision making, which I thought was pretty cool, because often people put their name to it. No, she wrote all the music and was fabulous.
Very cool. That's very cool. Wow, I'm actually really jealous of that. That's awesome. I'm
Yeah,
actually I'm bummed I didn't get to see it because it ended its run. And how
it
was that?
did. Well, it ended its run, but it's hoping to go back out again next year. Obviously, everything is COVID dependent, but they have said next May, so May 2021, it will be touring the UK again. And I don't know what its plans are for coming to America, but it's got an Australian production.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully when theatre gets back up on its feet, then 9 to 5 will be right there with it.
Very cool. And will you still be involved at that point?
Maybe.
Okay.
It depends. I hope so, but we'll see. I'm still auditioning for other things and hoping that jobs come along sooner
Sure.
rather than later.
Sure, sure. Now you're involved with The Show Must Go On, but I'm not familiar at all with this project. What's happening there?
Yeah, so actually this is a brilliant project. It's a friend of mine, and she just thought, how can we bring live entertainment to people within these rules in this whole, new normal COVID world? So she's put together this sort of evening of entertainment where it's based around one show. So for example, Mamma Mia. And for the 3 hours that you're there, you have a 3-course meal, a proper Prosecco reception, and you have actors from the West End show Mamma Mia sort of performing numbers as the evening goes on, with this fantastic drag queen compere as well. So it's a night full of glitz and glamour and just live entertainment again, which I think people are really aching for now. I know I definitely am.
Sure, sure. I saw a meme the other day of people were projecting into the future where kids were taking their grandmother home, and the grandmother was like, in my day, we actually watched music live performed in front of us. And they're like,
Yeah.
okay, sure. Like that really happened.
Yeah. Just like that switch. Oh gosh. Yeah, that it used to happen. We used to do that.
It was a thing, we promise. Okay,
Yeah.
so last year, my family and I, wife and 2 kids, we visited London. We came for the first time. And I
For the
say
first time.
we fell madly in love with the town. My wife teases me that there's not a big city that I don't fall in love with immediately, and London ranks very high, very quickly. I found the quickest way to put a 11-year-old to sleep was to take her on the behind-the-scenes tour of the Shakespeare Theater. She got nothing to
Was
do.
that we went the Globe and she was
Yep.
she wasn't interested? No.
Yeah, it was just, she was only 11, and they were talking about, all the way back, and I think she got lost when during the tour they were saying, yeah, people would just stand on the ground and they didn't have a restroom to go to, so they just kind of took care of it. She was like, what? Why are we here? Why are we standing on this? I was like, no,
I
no,
know,
no.
that's gross.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd be sat there for 5 hours watching the performance, and if you gotta go, you gotta go. But I can get why that's not appealing.
And I was tapping my wife on the shoulder. I was like, that sounds amazing. I wish I could try that.
I'm into it.
Yeah. She did try and break
Oh.
the record for most fish and chips eaten in a 5-day trip. And
I mean, you've got to, because
Yeah.
we can't really take credit for any other types of food. Like we copy everyone. We've got Indians, Chinese, pizzas. We don't really have our own thing apart from fish and chips. So I'm glad you made the most of that.
We did. And they were she kept on her little phone a little ranking. She ranked all the pubs that we went to and kept them all in order. But we fell in love. So are you born and raised? You've been in London your whole life?
I am. I was born and raised in Clapham in South London.
Okay.
So I'm a real life Londoner. We're a dying breed these days. But I love this city, and I always thought maybe I'm biased because I've lived here and it's home. But for me, like Covent Garden, the Strand, the West End, the bright lights of the city, for me, there's a little bit of magic here that I love. And to be honest, if we had amazing weather, I think it would be a pretty tough city to beat, like worldwide.
Sure. Believe it. I believe we were there for 4.5 days, and my wife, we were just like, we didn't scratch the surface of the touristy things we did, and then like the non-touristy stuff we did,
Yeah. Where did you go? What little bit stood out?
I mean, Abbey Road was high on the list. Had to go to Abbey Road. Had to get a picture of the 4 of us crossing the crosswest. That was a lot of fun.
Of course, that has to be done.
Yeah. We did the Eye. They were doing construction at Westminster Abbey, so all of our like pictures there were with scaffolding, what have you. But I didn't mind, whatever.
But you were still there.
Yep, yep. Big Ben, we went there, and like a life goal of mine was to just keep going past and saying, "Look, kids, Big Ben, look, kids," off of the National Lampoon's movie, and I got to check that off. It was awesome. Kids had no clue what I was talking about. My wife rolled her eyes as usual, but I was like, "This is
You know
amazing."
what you did.
Exactly, exactly. We did St.
Oh,
George's, and then a couple of other the touristy things, and it was just crazy just to be there. What blew my mind is the bicycling. Did not know there are so many bicyclists where there's your own street lanes, cars, and then a bicycle lane, and that
and
was
then a
crazy.
bicycle. I didn't know that that wasn't something that you guys had.
Not necessarily, no. Only in
No.
maybe major cities where would they designate a lane, but nope, for the most part, not too much.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've heard that now, there might, maybe not in London necessarily, but there's going to be a slow moving walking lane and a phone lane in China, so that if you want to be on your phone while you walk, you can just look down
Oh
as
my
you walk
gosh.
straight. I know.
Oh my
So
glory.
that's where the world is going.
Okay, okay. I work in DC in a busy section of Washington DC, and multiple times we've had to tell people, "Heads up, you're gonna," and before they crash into a
I
pole or
know.
what have you. So
Gonna walk straight into me.
exactly. Okay, back to acting. We'll wrap things up. We'll talk about anything else you can promote, talk about. How can we, follow? We'll tag you on all of the socials so that folks can follow you
Oh, that
there.
would be brilliant.
Sure,
I
sure.
think just the main thing is that if people are interested in, you know, any workshops or help with audition technique, maybe how to calm nerves, singing, acting, if they need help finding some monologues, or if people just want to have a good time, then it would be great. They can DM me on Instagram and we can sort something out, which it personally brings me a lot of joy, and I hope that it brings my students joy too. But other than that, in the meantime, just waiting and auditioning for the next project.
Beautiful. Well, once you've gotten that booked and have some of that done, you're going to come back on, tell us all about that, where we can watch
I'd
that,
love
see
to.
that, view that. I bet with your, I probably can tell folks to send them your way. You're probably more experienced with the Zoom auditioning process just because it's kind of been all you know to a degree.
Yeah. Well, I mean, self-tapes have been the way forward. I've had to invest in like a light and some gear,
Yeah,
because I think even, when things start to go back to normal a little bit more, that'll still be the way that people are doing initial auditions. So
sure.
yeah, top tip, get good at self-taping.
There you
That is
go.
what I would say.
Or get a beautiful balcony with a London skyline behind you,
Yes,
similar to
I
what
know, to be fair.
you.
I've got the river behind me, actually. Where is it? Can you see over there?
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
there.
Holy cow. My goodness.
This isn't my apartment. I'm staying in a friend's because I'm quarantining, and I'm
Okay.
making the most of
Well,
it.
next time I visit London, I'm going to stay at your friend's place. That's gorgeous.
Yes,
That's insane.
definitely. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Exactly. Georgina, thank you so much for coming on the show. We greatly appreciate it. And we must talk again, please.
I'd love to. I look forward to it. Thank you so much for having me on.